I used to copy other people because I thought it would make me as fulfilled and successful as them. What an incredible place to start. I've been loving your content recently about this sort of stuff. Um, Tell me a little bit how you came up with that statement.
Well, quite literally, I was just sitting one day making content and reflecting on how I feel like I'm seeing a trend of now people like almost going into like kind of not being copycats, but people copying. And there was a trend where people were saying, you're not broken, you're this, you're that. And I feel like it was all over the place. And then I was creating my own content and I was thinking, oh my gosh, like that used to be me. Like I used to go onto Instagram for like inspiration, like fake inspiration, and then basically try and replicate what someone had said because it worked for them. And I was like, oh, well, of course it's going to work for me then. And then it got to a point where I was like creating content that wasn't even me and wasn't even like my voice. And so when I started to kind of unpack that and when I look back now, when I was creating content, it was literally just so that I could get likes, just so I could get people feeling like I was like moving forward, but actually I wasn't moving forward at all. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like I'm not moving forward as me, I'm moving forward as someone else.
Yeah, and like it's almost like inauthentically ticking that box of
Yes.
creating and posting content. I'm doing it because
Yeah.
I know I need to do it for business, but it's not actually like in the right direction at all. Like the second I saw that post from you, I was like, we're talking about this. We are
Mm.
talking about this. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's something that, like, for me, like I used to do all of the time. Like when I first sort of started in terms of like posting fitness content in my like previous life as such, I used to basically get like branded as like a mini James Smith. Now, as far as like being a mini of person, like I would not mind that at all.
Not bad.
But I am not James Smith.
Mm.
As much as
Yeah.
like there is a level of like inspiration and I really look up to the guy. I agree with a lot of things that he says. But what I found was I was like almost moving in the same way that he was, which isn't necessarily me.
Mm. As in like speaking the way that he spoke, or as in like doing like the same kind of like offers, or like what branded you as that?
I think it wasn't necessarily like offers as such, but it was in terms of how spoke like topics that you would talk about, a lot of swearing, quite brash. Don't get me wrong, there is a level of it where I'm like, actually, like he talks a lot in analogies, and I find that really helpful. And I often, when I'm explaining things, will often use like an analogy rather than kind of like sitting there and giving like, this is how it works.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
like that really works for me. But like I found myself, and it wasn't necessarily just James Smith, but as kind of sort of time comes on, similar to yourself, I found that I was just writing and posting online. I was literally be like, I would save an Instagram post or whatever and be like, oh, I'm just going to like rewrite it, literally copy and paste the copy into my notes, and I would just rewrite it. And I'm like, well, that's no it's new content. It's new content.
Mm.
It isn't. It's
Been there.
just like reworked Timu version.
Yeah.
Like it's not sunglasses, it's gucky sunglasses, like that sort of just fake copycat. Now, there isn't anything inherently wrong with that. Like, a big thing that I talk about a lot and I reflect on was like this level of like disconnection. And I can sit here now, I'm
Mm.
like, is there any wonder? Is there any wonder that I felt like really like disillusioned and disconnected all of a sudden when I was acting like that?
But it's the exact same. I feel like as well, like that is, I swear that's what people are using ChatGPT for now. Like I swear, I think you can tell where people have just like repurposed like someone else's content or whatnot. But I used to literally do the exact same thing. And then it even got to the point, like if I scrolled down and down and down and down, like way down on my Instagram, I could probably pinpoint like, okay, well, I took this from this person, I took this from this person. I even like took the inspiration for this offer from this person because they posted it and it made them successful and it made them money and they loved it. And it's like, no, that's so like disconnected from who I am and like my values as well. It's like you get so caught up in like what works for someone else rather than like, but what do I actually want to be about and who actually am I behind, like the window shopping, if you will.
Yeah, like, and I don't. have any issues with taking inspiration or being like, I really like the way that they did that. Copy and pasting it, reworking it, putting it through ChatGPT. Like, you've got to do better than that. Firstly, if you want to use AI in your content, like actually training a bot to talk in the way that you want it to talk, it's not that hard. But yeah, like I was really sort of like took a bit of time to reflect on that as well. And similar to what you said around like, that offer, that content made them successful. But like for me as well, like I really used to like just copy other people. But ultimately I was starting to get like similar results, like, and then really impose myself in things that when I get into it, I'm like, I hate this. I don't want to do it. And
Yeah.
I beat myself up. I become really disillusioned. I start to sabotage myself. And I feel very like apathetic and almost like
Mm.
burn it to the ground to give myself something to do.
Yeah, 100%. Like I used to do that as well. It's that, yeah, it's like what you were saying earlier. It's like you're ticking a box, but because it's not, and this is something that I'm massive on now, because it's not like aligned with, the version of success that you actually want to build. It's like someone else's. You get there and maybe yeah, you build it, or maybe you're trying to build it and it doesn't feel good. But either way, it's not going to feel good for you. Like you're going to get there and you're going to be like, this isn't what I want, or you're going to really burn yourself down trying to build what someone else has. And it's like, but why? Like, and also I feel like everyone is just it's so easy. And I used to do this as well, to put someone else that you're comparing to on a pedestal. But I bet you if you actually like spent a day with them, you'd maybe be like, this isn't how I want to live. This isn't actually how I want to wake up, start my day. This isn't how I want to run my business. Or maybe there's things that I want, but maybe there's things I don't actually want because I prefer how I do it. But I feel like we just are so quick to put people on a pedestal. Like it's insane.
Literally, I could say the same word for word for me. Like I used to like, work be quite friendly with people who would be like up working on their business, which turns out I didn't want a business in that area, working till, you know, 1, 2 a.m. to then get up at a.m. to go to the gym and then to go to the gym at like 10 p.m. again at night. And I'm like, actually, do you know what? I can't think of anything worse. Like, that's not how I want to live my life. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, you do you, boo. But ultimately, like, if when I look internally about what I want, what my values are, like, I like to be, as I'm starting to kind of really get know myself on a deeper level, I much rather like have a few fingers in a few different pies. And naturally, that does slow down progress, but I quite like that.
Mm. To be honest, I'm kind of the same. Like I always like to have like I know people are like pick your lane, but I'm like, can we not just pick a couple different lanes? Like, why not? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's fun. And also I am someone change used to really scare me, but I actually am also someone who like my friends would say this now as well. Like, I do love change, whether it's like changing your hair, moving countries, like whatever it may be. I love change. Like whether it's scared at the time, but then you embrace it. But like, I feel like when you've got like a couple different things going, it's like you then don't get like bored. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got all these different things to kind of keep it exciting, keep it moving.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's like having those things that you can put up and put down.
Mm.
You went up, so I started a new job at the start of July. So I made sure that the first series of the podcast was out in June. And, it's now September that we're recording this, end of September. And I'm like, I can start to pick that up again.
Mm.
I tried to do it a month ago. Like, that's, to me, it's like, well, I still do this thing. I'm just going to put it down and pick it up again later.
Mm. But also because you had like coming into this, there was a lot of prep and there's a lot of like, I think that like people don't see the behind the scenes of this stuff as well. So it's like, you'd had all of this stuff like ready to go to kind of keep you ticking anyway. So, and that's one thing that I'm massive on. It's like you've made it sustainable. Whereas like I think a lot of people would go in being like, oh my God, I need to do all of this in like a week. I need to do like all of this now. Put this like unrealistic expectation on yourself and expect yourself to do it like week on, like week in, week out. And it's like, no, you actually get to like whether it's a passion project, whether it's like your actual business, whether whatever it is I just feel like you get to do it in a way that's sustainable and feels good for you energetically. It's like you don't actually need to like burn yourself down to make it work.
Yeah, totally. And there is more that goes like into it. But if I put myself under pressure to make a brand new podcast episode every single week without fail, or especially along time a full-time job, especially along just trying to have a level of like, it wouldn't work. And I'd end up hating and resenting it and stop very abruptly
Mm.
and instantly hold loads of resentment towards the thing. And
Mm.
like, I've learned that lesson the hard way. I don't want to resist the things that are A, good for me, and B, I enjoy.
Mm.
And that can,
100%.
that you can end up down that avenue
Yeah,
of,
100%.
yeah, like almost having that negative connotation. Like I found for me as well, working in the fitness industry for so long and there being a lot of pressure around it,
Mm.
I ended up hating it. And I'm like, genuinely, for me to stand around for another hour and not get paid and get disturbed and, be like, oh, there's no toilet roll in the toilets. And I'm like, I just want to work out, mate. I just want to work out.
It's not my issue.
Yeah, it's not my issue right now, mate. Like it's little things like that. I think it,
Mm.
like I ended up holding so much resistance towards it because there wasn't that degree of separation.
Mm.
And like,
Yeah.
that is okay. Like, you don't have to be like, you can be all in on something. You don't have to be like, live and breathe that one small detail every single day.
Yeah. It's like you don't have to be, it's something that I've definitely struggled with before as well. You don't have to be all in or all out. It's like there actually is a middle ground. And kind of with what you were saying there about like resentment, it made me think of when I we kind of spoke about this in the last episode a little bit, but like when I had left the job that I'd left, that's 2 years now since I'd left. And I spent about 10 months, I'm going to say, maybe less, 10 months building up my fitness coaching at the time, business outside of that job. And I remember literally I would be like sitting with my partner at his house watching TV with his family, and I would be doing work at like 9 p.m. and that was on like my days off. I really didn't give myself that many days off because I was like, no, I have to go all in. I need to build and build so I can leave this, job that I want to leave. And I remember getting to the point where I'd left. I had resented the job that I was in. That's obviously why I left. But then also, I left and I kind of had this resentment towards the business that I'd built, even though it's what I'd wanted, because I had not allowed myself time off. And it got to then having like no schedule and basically being like, oh my gosh, going all in now is like giving all of my time and energy and everything into this business. And now I actually hate that I've put myself in this position. And it's like, I do that with so often with like all of like I can guarantee you pretty much every single one of my clients have come to me with this issue, and it's like when I don't understand when like it must be like hustle, like people want love in the grind and stuff like that. It's like when do we actually like glorify being all in versus all out?
Yeah. I think one thing I've noticed, and I think about people a lot, and I think about thinking a lot. People struggle to live in the grey.
Hmm.
Like, it's black or it's white. And yeah, like, there is a level of like the world conditioning you. You are either this or you're that. You're in or you're out. You're up or you're down. You're left or you're right. Sometimes you don't have to be black. Sometimes you don't have to be white. You could be the grey. Like, and that's not sexy. That's not cool. That's not. I can't click that up and be like, yeah, like really hot take. Don't get me wrong. I have a few hot takes. We could like, but like that, live in the grey, be in that like middle ground,
Hmm.
even if it's just on a way, like something that the way you deal with something, like it's,
Hmm. How you like how you hold yourself in like that gray is going to dramatically change like how you actually hold yourself in like the end goal, if that's like the black, right? Like I feel like you're so right. Like feel people are so, it's as if like people think of a goal and they're now just like, I'm gonna achieve that goal like next week. And it's like, no, no, like that's not realistic. Let's not do that to ourselves. But also, yeah, it's like living in that gray, whether it's like a slow season, like, maybe you're not signing clients, or maybe you're applying for jobs and you're not hearing back, whatever the gray area looks like, or you're wanting to move somewhere and you're like, I want to be there now. Like that great how you actually, I feel like, hold trust in yourself, trust in the process, like trust in your actions and stuff like that, rather than being like, sack this. Like, because people are so quick, I feel like, just to be like, sack this, like whatever, I can't do this. And it's like, well, of course you're gonna say that because you're in the gray area, but you've got to just allow yourself to be there to let it your actions compound. It's like the compound effect. The compound effect comes in like, but I feel like there's almost like resentment again, kind of towards the consistent small actions now. It's like people love taking massive leaps, whether that's like, I'm gonna invest like this amount of money into myself. And it's like, you also don't have to. Like you can make a smaller investment or you can just take small steps yourself as well. It's like, yeah, I just feel like there's such a big thing between, you're so right, going from like white into black. It's like, no, let's just be where you are, meet you where you are, and build on that.
Yeah, like if you're going from like I almost used to sometimes put the brakes on with some clients because I'm like, chill. You're gonna hate your life when you can't sit on the toilet properly because you've gone from sedentary to trying to hit 70,000 steps a week and train 3 to 5 times. It won't work. Like that's just an example of like everyone kind of can get their head around something like that. But, what about just like doing two? What about being like, well, okay, well, I currently average around this amount of steps a day. Why don't I just try and push that up a bit?
Yeah. It's the same with like, I get some clients coming to me and they'll be like, I really, maybe they're struggling to hit like 4 or 5K months, like, but they really want to hit like 10, 15, 20K months, right? And I sometimes be like, yeah, I want to be by the end of like our working together, I want to be at 15K months. And I'm like, hold on. Okay. That's like 4 months, right? 3 to 4 months. And I'm like, is that like realistic? It could happen 100%. But if you are overwhelmed, burnt out, struggling to hold the workload at 4 or 5K months, and you don't have the systems in place, the structure in place to hold where you currently are, and you're expecting yourself to get to 15K months consistently, how do you really think that's going to play out? And then you're also putting pressure on yourself for like, okay, but as soon as I start to see that I'm maybe not hitting that, like in the time scale that I want, of course you're going to feel like you're failing. Of course you're going to, because you've originally put this really unrealistic pressure on yourself. It's like, I feel like, and I was saying this to someone the other day as well. It's the same with like when, there's absolutely no hate to like other mentors or anything like this, but if clients and coaches and people cannot handle the workload that they're doing and the programming and taking on new clients and the lead generation that they're doing, why is it a good idea to then be like, let's double your DMs that you're sending a day, or let's double your strategy or whatever? It's like, no, can we just start like meeting you where you are and like building it bit by bit, because that's going to be more consistent and that's going to allow you to actually scale with ease, which is realistically what everyone wants. It's like, you're not going to scale with ease by being like, let me go and add 10K to my revenue. Cool. Let's see how that feels for my nervous system.
Massively. Like I used to be like that. I used to be like the marketer's dream, especially in that kind of like, yeah, we're gonna, get you up to this K a month, like there's this system, that system. There never is a system. Say it is, it never is actually a system. It's a lie. But like what that's now made me love and appreciate is like it is getting in the weeds. It is like looking at the systems, the processes, like let's get this right. Let's like, yeah, there is a level of testing and you don't know, things break. But actually understanding that deeper level of like process, yeah, in a work context, but also like in a personal, in your personal life, in terms of that might be around a fitness goal, it might be around a financial goal. Actually, just look at what you want to achieve from it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So coming back to that, the idea of like copying, something you said in your post was about doubting your intuition. Doubting your intuition. That's easy for me to say. From your experience, what is the cost of doubting your own intuition?
Oh, you lose self-trust. It's the minute like, okay, there's so many tangents I could take with this question, right? I'm trying to think of like the most powerful one. I feel like, yeah, you lose self-trust, and it's in the same way that like you start to copy someone, so you dim your own voice down, or you start to look at someone else's, again, we'll take me for an example. I start to look at someone else's offer and I'm thinking, oh, I'll just do that because it's easier for them. Voice back in my head being like, no, that's not what you want. We know that's not what you want. The moment that you start just copying and moving in line with someone else, and yeah, doubting your own intuition and doubting like your own like internal roadmap is kind of what I like to call it. Like the moment you're going to start to go off on a different path that is not your path, and then the cost of that is going to be either burnout or getting to that version of success and losing yourself, losing time because you're hustling and doing what someone else has told you to do, or you get to success and you fear losing it because it's really unsustainable. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like you can't trust yourself there. You can't trust in the longer vision and the bigger vision as well. It's like you get there and it just, of course, it's going to feel like it crumbles down. So I feel like doubting your intuition is losing complete self-trust in yourself. The more that you get to like, the more that you kind of listen and dial into like what your, I mean, don't get me wrong, not the doubts. Like, let's not give power to the doubts or the what ifs, but the more that like you kind of lean into like, oh, well, what's next for me? What feels like the good next step for me? Like, what do I want to do that I'm also maybe like avoiding? The more that you're actually going to start to build the life that you want instead.
Yeah, I think I really like to talk about like the things. I know that it's one reason that I love speaking to you is like you're quite similar in the fact that like this isn't like a thing that many people talk about. You know, like doubting your own intuition and doubting and really like damaging that relationship with self. Self belief is part of that. Like I think it's these sort of things that we massively like. It's so I know that I fell into that trap of losing myself, what I really think, feel, believe,
Mm,
for getting caught away with these claims. And I do that. They have XYZ measures of success. So I'm just going to listen to them blindly and not kind of like questioning it. But,
mm,
you know, for me, like, values come from voids, but I now value like my own intuition, gut highly because
mm.
I became so like far removed from it.
Where did that get you?
Well, you've done that again. Well, you've asked your question. I'm like, so where did that get me? That got me in like, I ended up in a place where I didn't no amount of very lost, I thought I was broken. In reality, what happened is that I just had my ladder up against the wrong building, which is fine, trial and error. But I got so caught up in what wasn't working and what's the one thing that can fix it?
Mm,
And there isn't. And like, I sat in this sort of pit for a while. And, you know, you see so many like wellness things online where it's like, you know, don't sit in this shit for any longer than you need to. And I agree, like on the whole, but for me, like being not in the trenches because that makes it sound like it was really heroic, but it wasn't. It's almost like exploring the dark side. And
mm,
it really gave me a lot of like opportunity. It didn't feel like it at the time, but there's a lot of opportunity, and
mm,
really started to re-embrace that idea of fuck it and find out, like around and find out sort of mentality, which
mm.
again, yeah, that's not the most polished thing to say, and it's not, but sometimes you
Love it though.
just need to try, give it,
Yeah.
you know, you try a restaurant and you don't like the food. Okay, well, yeah, what, 20, 30 quid down. I'll come back. That's fine. Next thing. And really, I think in terms of like what it like taught me is trying to have a level of like, I want to be a rangy person. I want to be able to do a lot, feel a lot, but also like holding that, which comes back to like holding the gray with never too high, never too low.
Mm,
Because I
yeah.
used to like in that sort of thing, in that time frame in my life, you know, there was absolute incredible highs and there was like really deep lows, and like it's hyper emotional state, like
Mm,
either way off of like a baseline. Now
mm,
that doesn't mean don't give yourself credit. That doesn't mean that there isn't going to be times where it's a bit shit. but it's kind of holding those two things together. It's
Mm.
quite a
Yeah.
like, it feels very convoluted. And don't get me wrong, do not think that I want to feel the absolute highs of life. Of course I do. I'm only human. But to sign up to that, I have to be willing to go down here, to go down to
Yeah.
the hell. And sometimes, like, those don't even have to be first hand. Like, you can be in situations. Like, I think back to just over a year, like, just under a year ago, and like the things soon get put
Mm.
put into context for you. And so there is this level of like never too high, never too low, but being rangy.
Mm.
I never thought you could hold those two things together, but you kind of can. And the other bit is just like, and it's one thing that was really, I didn't quite know how to verbalize it, but it was one of the guests from last series, Sam Lehman, ex rugby player. But one thing he said is it's just like next play mindset. So you drop the ball, a pass goes awry, your kick doesn't go where you want it to go. But next play, just focus on the next play, not getting
Mm.
too
Yeah.
caught up on that, like, I've missed that, like getting really in your own head about it. You're then worried about, okay, well, when can I get my hands on the ball next?
Mm.
And almost sort
Yeah.
of running back into it. And, like a time that I've used that recently, like, so for my, at my job, we got 3 weekends in a row, 3 Friday night fixtures. First one we had at the start of September, horrible, absolutely horrid experience. And I'm like, that's what it's like. I don't know if I can do it.
Oh, no.
Second one, then I was like, okay, right, have that moment, be grumpy, get out your system.
Yeah.
We go back in, right, debrief. What went well? What didn't go well? What could I do better next time? Like, what am I being told?
Mm.
What am I not fully hearing? Next thing is the next one, completely different kettle of fish. Smooth,
Mm. Yeah.
different,
100%.
different gravy. And, like it's not honoring those feelings, those thoughts, that time where it, like, if something is shit, if you are feeling a kind of way, like sometimes you need to release the valve, and you just need to get out of your system.
Yeah.
And that, like,
100%. I feel.
yeah, how you do that is how you do that.
Mm.
But in terms of like, okay, well, what did go well? Like, what am I almost like? What could I do better? And then
Mm.
focus on doing that. Double down on what went.
But yeah, it's like reflecting on it instead of like, there's a difference between like moping and like sitting in it and then like reflecting and moving forward from it. Like something that like I'm massive on with and I'm working through with a lot of my clients just now actually is like, how can I actually just feel my feelings without having to fix them? And especially coming from a mindset coach as well. I think a lot of people are like, yeah, you're just going to fix everything. And it's like, no, no, no. We're also human. Like, we're humans with emotions. We're humans with like cycles. Like, we're going to feel different ways each day. We're going to have a crappy, event. And it's like, that gets to be okay. You get to feel that feeling, but then like let's just not sit in it as well, because I feel like we're so quick to be like, well, how can I fix this feeling and how can I fix this energy and how can I fix this? And it's like kind of what you've just said, but there it's like, okay, well, what's went well? Maybe what's heightened this feeling? What do I need to help this feeling rather than like fix it and then kind of move forward? And I also think some of it is like sometimes you do just have to pick yourself back up and be like, right, we're moving, we're getting on with it rather than like lying in bed all day or just like moping in it. But also equally sometimes you do just need to mope in it as well. Like I can guarantee you if you give yourself like even 10 minutes just to feel your feels, you're gonna feel better to like and more equipped to move through it rather than like just being like just push through. I really hate like one thing I hate is when people like just yeah, it literally it like gives me the ick. Like that is an ick. Like what do you mean just push through? Like I'm sorry, no. If I'm having like a stress or whatever, or if I'm not feeling great and someone's like just push through, I'm gonna want to give you the middle finger. Like I'm gonna be like absolutely not. Like I want to understand what's going on so I'm well informed, and then I'm gonna do my best to like not push through, but like allow myself to move through it. I feel like when people say just push through, it's like, okay, so how are you just gonna push through your like massive fear of failure in this moment? But you're just gonna push it to the side and wait for it to come up later, or you're gonna push through this overwhelm, okay, wait for it to heighten later, and then it's gonna feel even bigger. Like just push through temporarily blocks the issue, it doesn't get rid of it at all.
Yeah, like it's that old analogy of sticking plaster on a broken leg. Like,
Yeah. Or like, did you ever have that in like I swear in primary school, like you would go to the nurse and you'd be like, oh, look, I've got a sore head. Anything, wet paper towel.
yeah,
Why was that like the thing that they would just be like, wet paper towel, you're all good, you're fine.
it's like in sport, like magic spray.
Yeah,
It's just like compressed air. Oh, yeah,
doesn't do
I'm glad not.
anything. I'm good.
Incredible stuff. So moving on, we've kind of lightly touched on it, but I have to say, I think that you are an absolute like gangster when it comes to all things sabotage, self-sabotage. Now, I'll be brutally honest. I used to just think that self-sabotage was just an excuse. Like, again, talking about kind of understanding the bigger picture. Like I think that was a very like uninformed thing. Like, you know, if I get to a point where I'm like choosing to do things to mess up my
Mm.
progress or thing that I'm working towards, there is that. But again, it's like actually understanding, like, you know,
Mm.
my car could break down. I'd be like, oh, it's just broken down. But ultimately, like, that's great. But let's get the bonnet up. Let's like go beneath the surface. And, you know, I very much downplayed how and why it showed up in my life and kind of like neglected the impact it was kind of having on me. You know, it wasn't a lot of it is not necessarily conscious.
Mm.
Something a lot deeper, the subconscious, again, something that, you know, like I've learned tons from yourself about. I kind of want to go over a couple of points around self sabotage and walk through them together. So before we get started,
Yeah.
you have anything like kind of like to pre-frame the idea of self sabotage?
Yeah, well, some like what I would say with self-sabotage is the majority of it is subconscious. Like it's driven by your fears and your beliefs, right? So let's like say that someone believes they're not good enough. That's like a massive belief that pretty much majority of the world have, right? If you believe that you're not good enough, you're going to basically do things to avoid not feeling good enough, right? So if we take it, let's take it for example of like, okay, maybe you're going to avoid going to the gym, right? So maybe you're going to snooze your alarm so that you miss your morning workout. Maybe you're going to make excuses. Oh, I don't have time. I'm just too busy. It's too hard, right? So you don't have to go and do the hard thing. Excuses, like, yes, they can be conscious because if someone comes up, then you're like, oh, I don't have time. But like, it's a subconscious thing that you do. Um, but it also in context of like maybe building stuff online. You're gonna putting your offers out there. You're probably gonna copy other people, right? Like you're gonna do things to avoid feeling not good enough because you deep down believe that you're not good enough. So that self-sabotage is really like it's almost like you're trying to avoid feeling that, but then you're feeling it anyway because you're doing these habits that aren't helping you. But they're basically blocking you from getting to your goal, essentially.
I want to read you a quote from one of your videos on
Okay.
self sabotage. I'm not doing you dirty. I thought it was absolutely class. And I was like, we're going to have to, this is our talking point. You tell yourself it's not perfect. I won't do it. It sounds like high standards. It looks like ambition, but in reality, perfection is fear in disguise. Discuss.
Floor is yours.
Yeah.
Perfection is like everyone wants to be perfect, but like nobody is. And I think again, that's human nature. We all have flaws. That's fine. We all make mistakes. That's fine. Like none of us are perfect. But yeah, I feel like with perfectionism, it's like you put your this unrealistic standard on yourself. Oh, it has to be this, it has to be that, it has to be smooth sailing. And then because it's not smooth sailing, you hit a setback again. We are human. Like life happens. Life throws us real curveballs. Like it really does sometimes. And as soon as you hit a setback, it's like the wall goes up. Oh, I just can't do it. Right. But it's like, no, it's actually not because you can't do it. It's because you're striving for perfectionism when you're not perfect. Like I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. None of us are fucking perfect. Like we just aren't. But I feel perfectionism is like one of the biggest forms of self-sabotage that I see. It's like people trying to make sure that like they look perfect, posting something, and it's like, oh my gosh, no one acts. It's not that deep. Like it really isn't that deep. Or trying to make sure that you use the right language, or you say the right thing or whatever it may be. It's like, why, why instead of it, why not instead of trying to make it perfect, you just take some form of action, like just do something. Like the other day, I was talking with one of our clients who's literally just launched a new service and then like pretty much ghosted her Instagram. And I actually said to her, because we were going through it, and I said to her, I don't care what you post, go and post something. And she's like, but I can't. I was like, but you can. And she's like, when we unpacked it, I was like, why can't you? She's like, well, I don't want to blend in. I want to stand out and it needs to, and I don't want it to look like everyone else's kind of posts. And I was like, so you want it to be perfect? And she was like, well, yeah. And I was like, right, well, I don't care if it's perfect. Go and post something because you need to show yourself that you can take imperfect action. Minute that she posted something, she felt so much better. And I said, well, yeah, because you were trying to like put this pressure on yourself for it to be perfect, for it to be unique, for it to be this certain thing. But by doing that, you weren't allowing yourself to move at all. Like, but it's wild because people, your subconscious tricks you almost like into thinking that it's like, oh, but I'm protecting you. And you are protecting yourself from whatever is driving that need and not driving that self-sabotage. But then you're also stopping yourself from like actually achieving what you want.
Like, and I think people feel so like they're copping out if they are like taking that imperfect action. I've got
Mm.
like messy action, and like sometimes
Yeah.
art, like actually, I can sit there and try and draft the perfect email, or I can try and write the perfect thing in get
Mm.
granular detail around a particular edit or a particular font, whatever. But sometimes it is pressing send and just go.
Yeah.
Like if it's not,
100%.
if it's what I loved there was about like it sounds like high standard and it looks like ambition. Like that's core me.
Mm.
But what a great story to tell yourself to justify that action or lack thereof.
Literally. Yeah. But I used to do it as well.
I'm just saying,
Oh, sorry, I cut over you there.
yeah. Sorry, that was my bit. Go.
Well, I just something that as you're saying that I started to think of was it's because it's something that I used to tell myself. Used to take like there was one time I'm not even joking. I went to a coffee shop and it took me. I must have been there 4 or 5 hours to do one single post. One post, right? Absolutely ridiculous. Like should not have taken me that long to do this post, right? But I remember putting this really massive, yeah, like high standard on myself. Oh, but there's so much like information in this post. It's such a good post. And it's like, okay, but then you posted it, barely anyone saw it. So like, do you know what I mean? It's like you would have been better. I then the next day felt overwhelmed, was like, oh my gosh, I still have all of these other posts to create or these other things that I want to do. And it's like, yeah, because I was telling myself that I was like making the world's best post or whatever, and then it actually just distracted me from all of the other work that I was having to do. Like the high standards that you sometimes kind of set for yourself are actually just, not to be blunt, but like stupid. Do you know what I mean? Like for me, it was so stupid to be like, I'm gonna have to make the world's best post so that this like blows up. It's like, why not instead of focusing on it blowing up, just let yourself like speak and actually just say what you want to say instead of using the thesaurus to like make it something it's not.
Yeah, like again, guilty of charge. Like I can totally relate to that, and I think there needs to be a level of like I believe that I'm putting something good into the world.
Mm.
Sometimes it's going to be better than others. That's fine. That's life. But like when people are like, say you get tagged in a post on Instagram, and it's like a photo of like you and your mates, or it gets put in like a
Mm.
group chat. You zoom in and you look at you and you're like, oh, I hate the my face is this way or like this, or, my body's there and my belly, whatever you want to call it. Like people aren't going to pay as much attention to that as you. Like I think we really overestimate the amount of people that A, see your stuff online, B, pay the level of detail to a picture and a caption or a video, let
Mm.
alone like I could go in there and like if I really, really wanted to, I could go through and be like, well, okay, well, I can see you've actually made a grammatical mistake there, and I can see that your edit's quite right there, but that would involve me taking a lot of my own time to watch and watch and watch and zoom in on the nitty gritty details. who is actually doing that? It might
Mm.
mean a lot to you, but it doesn't to anyone else. Like the attention that people pay to you, like it's like scarily low. And getting a video or a post or something that blows up and it goes like well out of your your like being, if that makes sense, and like your usual audience, like that is really, really rare.
Mm.
And
100%.
them actually, then you start looking at the breakdown of the percentage. Okay, like in your case, you're using your social media as a marketing funnel. So yeah, you might have, say, 10,000 people watch your video. Okay, well, what's your watch time? Like, how far are people getting through that video? Okay, well, that's going to bring it down a little bit. Who was actually listening? Who even had the sound on? Who was someone just scrolling through? Like the amount of time
Mm.
I'll be like halfway through a video, and it's like the third time of it playing, it's just in my hand. Or
I would say.
if I'm watching something on my, I'm like brushing my teeth and I've just got my phone on like the sink, like that's given that 3 or 4 views. I haven't
Mm.
been paying attention. I've been brushing my teeth. Once you start
Yeah,
like taking that out, you're
literally.
sitting there, people that actually sit down and go over and really like and pay a decent level of attention. It's not that high. So like it's almost you want to get over the like when you really start to understand that marketing funnel, the
Mm.
numbers that you deal with are so small.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, because I feel like everyone's like, I want to get to like 100K views, or I want to blow up and I want to have all this visibility. And it's like, then you put all this pressure on yourself to make it like the perfect reel. And it's like, or the perfect thing or whatever it may be. But like, at the end of the day, you can have high standards and still take messy action. Like taking the messy action or making a post that doesn't get to 100K views or whatever doesn't take away from your high standards, but it like builds your trust and like builds your trust with your audience and like builds like your consistency and builds your self-belief as well.
Yeah. And like even looking at like I've been loving the challenge of with the podcast. Obviously, I want it to be bigger than just a podcast, right?
Mm.
But the first step is like, well, okay, well, let's like share what we're talking about. Let's start to build a bit of an audience. Let's share like what we're talking about. And I love seeing the notifications come through, and it's tiny, tiny numbers, but followed you from a reel. Click on it. I had 2 people over the weekend follow me off the back of a reel. Was it the one? Was it my biggest viewing things? It's literally videos that have 50 views on. 50 views. And
Doesn't matter about metric.
yeah, like I look at like the posts that made me money when I was when I was doing my fitness business. Only
Mm.
one had about 5 comments on and 3 likes. And it, when you look at the recurring revenue, it would have been well over £1,000, well over £1,000 from one post. Shit engagement, shit amount of comments and likes, but it made money. Like that's where I'm like,
It's
we need to
funny.
start doing things differently. Like that performed badly, but would I rather ego metrics and like likes, views? We all do. Let's not beat around the bush. Of
Mm.
course we would. Like I think you're probably lying if you don't think that. Like, are
Yeah.
you not being honest with yourself? But I'm also like, I would much rather that post that pushes my business forward.
Yeah. Well, but like that's the other like I get another like human need is like validation. And I feel like now we get validation from the amount of likes on a picture or the amount of likes on a post or a video, the amount of like when someone says that we like look nice or someone like compliments you or someone else tells you like, oh my gosh, you've done an amazing like job with your deficit or whatever it is. It's like people are so quick now to outsource validation rather than like actually allow it to be internal and to like celebrate themselves. The amount of conversations I have with like women, clients, friends, where it's like they're so focused on the numbers on a post and it's like, okay, what do you actually like about yourself? My gosh, I don't know. Why are you asking me that? It's like, well, I'm asking that because you're expecting other people to tell you that from one single post, but you can't tell me what you like about yourself, like standing here. Like, why can't you validate yourself? You know, it's so wild that we've just like let that slip onto, like, we've outsourced that now and given that power and that control to other people, when it's like, no, years and years ago when like mirrors probably didn't exist, like how do you think people felt then? How do you think they got the validation then? And so,
That's not to say that, like external validation is a bad thing, because it feels
no.
fucking fantastic. And like, it's nice for other people to think that, but like, it's almost like believing in your own source and
Mhm.
being like, well, actually, I could put this outfit on, or I could take a picture, or I could do a thing and be like, actually, do you know what? Like, fair play.
Yeah.
I look
It's
good.
like,
I feel good.
exactly. It's the difference of like maybe you're getting ready for a date and you're like thinking of like, I'm gonna look good for you versus like, no, I want to look good for me so that I feel good on this date. It's like that's the difference. But also equally, it's still nice when your date, when your partner says, you look really nice, you look great. But also then you're like, well, I know. You know, I know that I look good because I feel good. Like it's the difference of, yeah, just like external validation, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, it's a human need. Like we all want it, we all love it. That's normal. But it becomes a problem if it's like you're constantly outsourcing it from like constantly checking like your likes and your insights and constantly like fishing for compliments. It's like that's when it becomes an issue.
Yeah, totally. Like, I know when I go and get my hair cut, and like, full disclosure, in need of one right now, I have a lot more errands to run. I have a lot more
Mm,
I'm just going to pop out than I would do maybe at the moment. And I always get to this point, and
yeah.
I'm doubting the entire process, what we're working towards. But guarantee Saturday morning, a different bloke. This is a brilliant idea. We should keep definitely doing the same thing, Barbara.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I'm the same with my hair. Like once I've got my hair done, I'm like, where am I going?
Yeah, let's get out. Um,
Yeah.
awesome. Let's move on to the next bit, and it's kind of similar and links into what we've just been talking about. Is procrastination that
Mm,
feels like preparing.
yes.
Now, I've got a little quote that I think sums it up perfectly. Preparing to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Scheduling time to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Making a to-do list to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Telling people you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on yourself for not doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on other people who've done the thing isn't doing the thing. You get my drift. That's a little Chris Williamson masterpiece there. But like, I think there's a real element of like struggling to. I think there's some nuance to that. Is, if I'm looking to do the thing, so to say, do you not think making a to-do list might be helpful? Do you not think talking to other people about it might be helpful? But if I'm doing that instead of doing the thing, totally agree. So talk to me maybe about this sort of like active procrastination, like
Mm.
over preparation. I'm going to read another book. I'm going to do another thing.
You're right in that, like speaking to it with people or like, yeah, like planning your to-do list, that there's nothing wrong with that. Like I do both those things. If I have an idea, I will guarantee, like I will always speak about it to my partner and be like, this is my idea. And I'll like throw it at him and then he's kind of blindsided. But the difference is like if you're replanning and then, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. This is my plan. This is my action plan. And then the next day, okay, let's just change the kind of plan. Like, let's just kind of change the launch. Let's just change this. Like, oh, maybe I could do this instead. It's like you're keeping yourself in the preparation stage. You're always keeping yourself in, what could I do better to like make this better? Or again, like the perfectionism, making it perfect or making another to-do list or like planning another week or whatever. Like I have someone just now who said to me, one of my clients today was like, I really want to plan for like the next 90 days. And I was like, okay, that's keeping you planning for the next 90 days today. What action are you going to take today to build instead? And she was like, that's so fair. She's like, yeah, I am fully planning so that I kind of falsely know what I'm doing, but it's like I'm actually then not going to like move in line with it at all. So then I'm going to have to replan it anyway. And it's like that's when it's active procrastination, but it feels good. It feels productive, which is the annoying thing. Like it feels like yeah, look at me go. Look at this like plan that I've made for myself. Look at everything I'm gonna achieve. Like all of this. It's the same when like people get to like New Year resolutions. Like, look at everything I'm gonna achieve in January alone. Like, it feels productive. It feels really good, and it does. It gives you like a dopamine hit. It gives you like a false sense of achievement, but it's not actually moving the needle in any way, shape, or form if you're then not going and taking the action that follows it.
Yeah, I love what you said there. It's like it's really like cheap dopamine.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's such a good way of putting it.
Like it's cheap. It's like if I wanted a nice steak, like I'm not gonna go and like root around in the bargain bucket or like the bargain basement. I'm like, well, actually, like if I want a nice steak, I'm gonna go to the butcher's. I'm gonna go like I I want to achieve this thing. I'm gonna go and
Mm.
get about the right way. That's certainly a point that needs needs fleshing out a little bit more. But like it's like getting stuck in like that like development stage. And again, there's nothing like is like you were saying, like you're speaking to your partner about the idea. Like mine was the opposite. Like I would like not tell anyone, do it, and
Really?
this is a really bad idea. What on earth are you doing? So like it's having like so like for me, I'm like actually like maybe having a conversation with people, but not necessarily people who are just going to be yes men or yes
Mm.
women. Not going to be like, oh, it's a really good idea just to big you up.
Mm.
Sometimes that can be your partner, and I don't think that's a bad thing. And it's almost like they're the one that are just not going to be scared to be like, nah, it's a fucking stupid idea. What on earth are you thinking?
Mm.
Then that allows you to be a bit more objective, which is a whole lot like better than this overexcitement, cheap dopamine. Like you're on this kind
Mm.
of roll of excitement, and again, not a bad thing. Like, and it feels fucking great, but like actually, like take a little bit of time to be like, okay, well, what's the potential drawbacks? What am I not looking at here? Is getting some
Mm.
opinions a good idea? Is taking time to plan, schedule time to do the thing probably a really
Yeah.
good idea? But if you're sat there, like I know, well, I can't remember if it was I was listening to you speak or whether it was when we were talking last time. But you said about like planning your like to do list down to the minute, like not allowing for like that kind of like nuance and there being like, what is the thing that goes wrong? Or, all of a sudden I'm doing my work and then my mum rings me and I'm not going to be like
Go away.
go away or
Yeah.
a thing happens or like it's like that there is such a waste of time. Like, don't get
100%.
me wrong, like having structure is going to
Mm.
equal that freedom, but like you need to almost like it comes back to that like holding of the duality, the black and the white, the yin and
Yeah.
the yang. Like life is a paradox.
The
It's a contradiction constantly upon itself, upon itself, upon itself. Like, you just need to start holding it. I think that's the biggest thing.
100%. And the thing about like the planning stage, though, that like the reason that you keep yourself in the planning stage is because you're afraid of moving forward. Like, because taking that step is so afraid, it's so scary, sorry. Whether that's like you are afraid of feeling something that like you don't want to feel, whether you're afraid of like failure, afraid of like rejection, afraid of it working out and then you not actually being able to hold it. It's like the planning stage is like the happy gray area, if you will. It's like the comfortable, safe area. Like you're always gaining safety and always feel safe planning. Like obviously you do. Because also obviously, yes, as we know, feels good. So you keep yourself there because it's like I don't actually have to take any action. I just get to stay planning it. And this feels really good and it feels like I'm moving, but I'm really not. It's the same with like redoing like your website for the 10th time or like rebranding for the 10th time. Feels really good. Is it actually getting you any further forward? No, like it's not. But I used to be like, that used to be me down to a T. But then, like, literally, it's funny that we've kind of had this conversation today. 2 days ago, I had an idea. It honestly, it came to me, and I swear sometimes my best ideas come to me when I'm cooking, which is so funny. Was cooking, had this idea, wrote on my laptop, came through, said it to my partner. He was like, "How have you just come up with this idea?" I was like, "Don't know." It literally just came to me. He was like, "How?" And launched it tonight. Like it's being launched as we're recording this. And I'm like,
I literally
that,
saw it before we came on.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like that for me, like 2 years ago would not have happened because I would have like planned. What am I gonna do here? What am I gonna do here? Like, and now I'm like, I can plan it. I can feel really good in it because I have so much self-trust in myself, self-trust in like trust in my business, trust in my service. Then now I can move straight into the execution stage because it just feels and like it just flows for me.
Incredible. Kind of brings us on to the next point a little bit, going back to a little bit what you were saying around the like staying in that comfortable planning stage feels good. Like it feels like I'm doing something productive, but you're just sort of like spinning your wheels
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
is shrinking to stay comfortable.
Big one.
Yeah.
Kind of like encompassed by like every like I'm interested to see like what your take is on that.
Do you know what? Every other point, I can sit there and I can be like, I can think of like really vivid examples. This is the one where I, especially more recently, kind of struggle with.
Mm.
The first thing that's kind of come into my head is a level of shame, and now that's something that you and I have spoken about before. So it's kind of like it's more on my radar. But the idea of the shame of being like ostracized by the crowd, of being the one that stands out. Like we are hardwired to be like, let's conform with societal norms.
Mm.
Let's not get ourselves ostracized because we will die or be eaten by a mammoth or a saber-toothed tiger. That's kind of the first thing that's come into my head is around that level of shame. The safety, amygdala into overdrive, right, get yourself safe here, don't get yourself ostracized, don't go and get yourself, like, don't do this thing, piss loads of people off, and then suddenly kicked out the tribe, you have to go and sleep under a tree
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. Now, I know that Mark Manson, he does a lot of stuff around like put yourself in the shoes of your ancestors, like put yourself in like caveman boots. Like suddenly this sort of stuff, this hardwiring, the way that we're broken, it kind of makes sense. Like society and the way life is has moved a hell of a lot faster than kind of like the evolutionary sort of body and brain. If that makes does that make sense?
Mm. Yeah.
So like we're kind of like there's a level of like our hardware that is really out of date. Like,
Mm.
is that making sense?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I feel like it also like that it's funny as well because I feel like that kind of comes back to as well where like yeah, I guess with like shrinking to stay comfortable, it's like you're just trying to protect yourself. But yes, like caveman times, you're literally trying to protect yourself. But it just looks so different, like the way that we try and protect ourselves now, because now we're trying to protect ourselves from judgment, from someone like saying something, from like, yeah, rejection. It's like we're not trying to protect ourselves from like being killed by an animal. We're trying to protect ourselves from something that like really, if it happened, wouldn't be the end of the world. Like it would be fine. You would live, you would learn, you'd be good, you'd pick yourself back up and you'd move. But it's like, yeah, it's kind of funny as you're saying that. I was thinking like how, when people say it's like just like not that deep, it like really just is not that deep. I feel like our like problems now, like these kind of problems that we want to protect ourselves from are not as deep as like what our ancestors kind of had to go through or had to like deal with. And like that's not to like downplay those problems, but like me, like had a lot of no's in my lifetime. I've had a lot of like rejection from people. Sure, you've had the same, like in different like in so many different contexts. Like I've had people say no to working with me, said no to jobs. Like you pick yourself up and you move on. It's fine. It's good. You're fine. Like you don't need to. But I think that's where it's like people shrink themselves in to like fit in somewhere or to fit in to a group or to fit on online so that you don't then experience these things. But it's like you're actually fine. You're not going to be killed by some like caveman.
So, like, one way that I love this, like, this sort of fear is a mile wide and an inch deep.
Mm.
For as far as the eye can see, is fear, and you take that bold, brave step to step into it, And all of a sudden, you might get a bit of damp toes at the worst of it. Depends how high the platform is on your shoes. Do you know what I mean? Like it's that, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, gonna have to get your best breaststroke out.
Mm.
Splash. Oh, um, I'm okay. I'm okay.
I'm fine.
You look at that, like, you know, relationships, jobs, stuff like that. Look, you're like, build. Sin, you break, you make that, you know what, the
Mm.
tip, like a roller coaster when you tip over the edge. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm okay.
I'm fine. But like to also kind of go into it in like more of a subconscious like level as well,
Yes.
like your RAS, which is your reticular activating system.
Easy for you.
I always like yeah, blah, blah, blah. Essentially that's like, let's take the red car, yellow car theory, right? So let's say you're wanting a red car, you're going to see all the red cars. You're not going to see the yellow cars. But that's kind of the same with like your subconscious looking at like danger in terms of, I fear rejection. So I'm going to look at all these, like all this evidence and all this, yeah, all the evidence that I can that shows me that I'm like being rejected, or that like people don't like me, or that I'm not fitting in. Like it could be as simple as someone says hello the wrong way and you're taking that as like evidence that like, oh, I'm not wanted here. I don't belong here, right? Like it's as simple as that, versus when you begin to open your RAS up to the yellow cars and up to like the safety, and like this person, complimented me, or this person said I look nice, and they weren't actually just saying it to be nice, they were actually meaning it. It's like when you start to kind of open up your RAS to the safety rather than just the danger and like rejection and fear and failure and all of this, that's when you kind of also get to like raise your frequency and then move more, and like move with more ease as well. I don't know if that explained it very well, but like I feel like
I'm seeing it
everyone's
move
RAS.
into a to opportunity.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But it's like just now, I feel like everyone's RAS is like wired for danger, fears, and it's no one's fault. That just is like a product of like, that's just kind of what your subconscious does, again, to try and protect you. But and that's, it's funny when I say to people, right, if we were to kind of look at more evidence of like why, if something is going well, or you are good enough, people are like, there isn't any, and I'm like, no, just give yourself a minute, because there is. Like, you just have not been noticing that evidence and noticing those like yellow cars because you're so focused on the red car and the danger.
Yeah, and so I, in my first ever keynote talk, I did almost like a breakout activity. So my world class Canva skills, I put loads of different color elephants all over the screen, all different colors. There was like different shades of blue, different shades of pink, some like different yellows and orange, loads of different colors. And so I go in and pick. Luckily, I knew one of the girls in the audience, so I was just like, I'm picking on you today. And I was like, right, so and so, come up to the front. I want you to spot the purple elephants. And I'd hidden 3. Now, there was one that was like blatantly obvious. It's just like a bit of an easy win. And then I put one just offset from like another elephant. So it was like behind it on the screen, if that makes sense. But you could still see that like purple outline of like the elephant's arse, if you will. And then there was another one which was tiny, but it was like right in the corner.
Hmm.
And it almost brings you back to what you were saying there about the RAS, about the the whole, when you're a kid on like a bus journey, a school trip, all that sort of stuff, and it's like, oh, yellow car, no return. The second you see a yellow car on a round, like, drive the other way, or on a roundabout in a car park, you're punching your name. That might be a bit more of a boy thing than a girl thing, but like it's looking for that opportunity and that evidence of like, well, how
Hmm.
do I know this is true? So I could sit here and say, I believe that I am X. And I could sit there, and it might take me a while, but I can start to pull out strands of evidence that back up that belief. And if I can start to find evidence that then makes me like believe it, and be like, okay, well, actually, like, there is actually some evidence here. If I turn around and said, right, I am going to win the World Bodybuilding Championships next weekend, I'm going to, like, for me, like, we're going to start to go for it. Like, I won't find any data. It's like are
Mm,
some things that are just generally not true. And,
mm,
you might have this sort of like negative thought about yourself or this negative feeling. And, like go and actually look for the evidence. Also look at evidence to the contrary. Like, where is
mm.
this not true? Well, I'm really
Yeah.
selfish. Okay. Yeah. But, you might have brilliant boundaries. You might really like be an introverted person.
Mm,
Like, I used to
yeah.
think that I had to be around people all of the time, and then when I wasn't, I'm like, "Oh, I'm missing out." Actually, do you know what I've realized now? I go both ways. Like, I love being in groups of people,
Same.
but I'm also like, if I had a day to myself and just stayed at home, I would be happy as picking shit.
Literally. Oh my gosh. No, I literally like every week. Saturday, I tend to leave, like, because my partner tends to work on a Saturday now. So I will kind of leave that a bit more open. If I get to that and I'm like, I have a full day for me, I'm actually like, this is great. We love this for me. And I feel like, but I used to be the same as you, where I used to kind of be like, oh, I'm introverted or I'm extroverted or I'm this, I'm that. And it's like, no, 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 no. Like, we can be both. We can have both. But something that you were saying there reminded me about like with Rafa as well, like with what you're saying, like, oh, I'm this, and then extracting the evidence and looking at the evidence to back up this belief. It's like that's where, and there's no hate to affirmations, to writing down your beliefs and whatnot. But like if you're then deciding like tomorrow I'm just gonna decide that I'm good enough or I'm worthy or I am successful, right? Gonna stand in the mirror and I'm gonna say I'm successful, I'm successful, I'm successful, right? You will obviously have evidence that you are successful, but you're not gonna have new evidence unless you actually change the way that you move, because you're not gonna walk away from the mirror just being someone who is successful and who feels more successful than you were like 5 minutes ago before you said those affirmations. That's where also I feel like a lot of people just, not that it's not assuming that it's going to be easy, but like, okay, well, if I tell myself this enough, then it's going to happen for me. And it's like, no, you can tell yourself, but you can also go and make the evidence and show yourself through creating that evidence through action. That's what's going to allow you to actually make the change and believe that about yourself. It's not like, because I feel like that's where a lot of people just assume that, like, even for me, oh, I'll do the heavy lifting for you. No, I do some of the lifting. You've got to go away from our sessions and you have to put in the work to make the changes as well. It's not just going to happen from that one session. You feel amazing after the session. People feel it, feel the shift, but like you have to then make the evidence and create the change yourself.
Totally. And when I was doing my coaching qualification, similar to what you said there, like the answer's always within. I'll pull out a quote about that in a minute because I lost my head. So I'll explain about it more in a minute. But one thing that when I did my coaching qualification, it was about like, I'm just here asking questions and I'm holding space for you.
Mm,
And I'm trying to move
mm.
you through it as quickly as we can.
Yes.
That's what we're
Yeah.
doing. Honestly, it's absolutely fascinating. So I'm going to just pull it up on a different tab because this was honestly absolutely insane and transformative. So I heard it when I was flying back from Croatia after a holiday, and I wanted to really listen
Mm,
to this audiobook, The Dark Side of the Light Chasers by Debbie Ford. I got
okay.
probably about 40 minutes in before I heard this quote and I was almost like, I've got everything I need from this already.
Done.
That's it. I'm done. I'm genuinely done after that. And it was all of the answers are within. We've just got to be quiet enough to hear them. Like,
Mm.
I love that. That's like a big,
Do
big
you
highlight
know?
for me at the moment.
Do you know what I love the most about that is that I feel like so many people are so quick to avoid like the quiet, to avoid like that's where people are like need to be busy and like need to be doing something. It's like because they want to avoid sitting in whatever they're feeling or sitting in like their thoughts or actually like unpacking, and like it's like people just want to neglect what they're going through and neglect it and neglect their fears and whatnot. And it's like, no, like the moment that you allow yourself to, yeah, like go within, go inwards and like, yeah, be quiet and just listen to what's actually coming up. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're actually going to shift it though, and you're actually going to move through it 10 times faster. You're going to see results 10 times faster than if you just, keep neglecting and pushing it down and down and down.
Yeah. 1,000,000%. Awesome. Moving on to the next little bit. And I love the way that you kind of phrase this. Shock and horror, another quote. You don't actually have a problem finishing. You have a nervous system that is trying to protect you from finishing, protect you from what finishing actually represents.
Mm. Yeah.
And you use the phrase ghosting your goals, which I loved. Brilliant. So tell me a little bit about that. How does that show up from almost like a neurological level? And how do you
Mm.
see that then kind of like live out in people's lives?
It's almost like, when people talk about attachments in like relationships, it's like people have got an attachment, a different attachment style with their goals, or whatever. Like some people will be secure and they'll be good. Some people will be like anxious, avoidant. And I feel like that's a kind of a good like way of looking at it. But yeah, it's kind of like you're going to overthink, you're going to ghost. Like ghosting your goals is like the worst thing that you can do. But yeah, I remember making that quote and making like writing that out. And actually, it is like a lot of people, they don't have, again, it's the being in the gray area. Problem with, they don't have a problem with like maybe doing a little bit of the work, but they have a problem with like what happens when they get there. And that's where the anxious avoidance style kind of comes in. They start to, yeah, like overthink, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if I lose my head? What if I lose all this? What if I, oh my gosh, and it's like, let's slow down. Let's not go a million miles an hour. Let's not spiral. Okay. We don't need to spiral. But basically, if you have an idea that like success or the success of your goal is going to be really hard work, it's going to cause you to burn out, it's going to cause you to lose time for yourself, time for your relationships, going to cause you to lose like all of your friends, cause you to become a bad person, you're not going to want to get there. Of course, you're not going to want to get there, right? What success to one person is going to look like freedom. Success to another person is going to look like almost like fucking prison. Like you're going to get there and then you're going to be trapped in always having to hustle, always having to, be perfect, always having to do this, always having to do that. Like I guarantee, like a lot of people have a fear of success that they don't actually recognize. And it's because you kind of glamorize that success you're working towards. If you then actually go deeper and allow yourself to kind of go inwards again and recognize, oh my gosh, I don't want that version of success, that's where you have a problem finishing. You have a problem with actually getting there. Like you're not going to get there because you fear what happens when you get there.
Yeah. And then obviously, like I said, that then is subconscious nervous system kind of like it needs alarm bells on. You don't even necessarily up here know it's happening.
Well, yeah, because it's like it comes up in all of these different like symptoms, like your hands are clammy or like your heart rate you might get heart palpitations, heart racing. Like a lot of people, a lot of my clients will really struggle to sleep or stay up really, really late, like watch TV or whatever it is, like that self-sabotage. But like they'll be absolutely wired at night because they just can't switch off or like their brain's overthinking all the time. Yeah, your palms will go like sweaty, you'll get like a dry mouth, like you get like physical symptoms, but they're all a byproduct of like this fear and like how you're moving in line with that fear. Because that comes back to self-sabotage. Like if you fear that success is going to mean burnout, I can guarantee that you're going to burn yourself out now so that you don't hit the burnout later, because then it proves that you just can't handle the success that you're at now, so that you're not going to get there later. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I find this like nervous system and the subconscious stuff like genuinely fascinating.
Mm.
It is something I'm so like hot on. For me, like again, personal level, like has answered so many questions for me.
Mm-mm.
That makes sense. And like understanding the nervous system and understanding, starting to be like draw lines of like, okay, when when I feel like this, the situation is like this makes me feel this. And
Mm.
starting to kind of build those lines together. Like I know I spoke to you about it last time, but like the idea of rushing now, I hate it because I'm like,
Mm.
it like the stress that it causes. Like I know that for me personally, like some people are like pile all of the pressure on, but like hyper internalized stress for me, hate it. For some people, it makes them perform at a high level. I know, like for me, that does not equal performance. That does not equal
Mm.
the outcome that I want. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can I be honest as well though? Like, just to interject you there, I feel like for some people, the people who say that they work the best under pressure, under stress, I'm sorry, you're lying. You're telling yourself that you work better under pressure, under stress because you like the validation or the getting to tell people that you're stressed or getting to tell people that you're busy. It's like
Yeah,
you're
I've worked
proving
many hours as
yourself. Yeah, it's like you're proving yourself through the stress and through the pressure, but it's like you don't like because you don't trust yourself to probably work without it. Like I just feel like there's no way, and the amount of clients I've shifted this with, it's like, no, you don't actually enjoy it. You're just telling yourself that. Anyway, continue.
no, like genuinely with that, like I think that's some like I'm probably going to take that away now and kind of potentially reform a bit of an opinion and take that on.
Mm,
That's a really interesting like take and way of a different way of looking at it. So yeah, no, I like that. For me, like I'm so willing to like with this, I want to be wrong as well, like in parts and be like, oh well, actually, like I want to change my opinion on that because like I'm more informed, there's more insight, there's more growth in it. And that's the thing that like really juices, gets me
mm,
going and like makes me feel that I'm living the most aligned and like it's important to me. And like it feels very like
mm.
flowy.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. Just before we move on quickly. So like I said a second ago, like a massive thing for me, and I think a lot of other people took from series one was this idea of around like just the nervous system as a whole, and kind of it being something to consider and to look at in day to day life. So, talk to me about the process of programming your nervous system. In the nervous system, your nervous system, not to lose its head every time you experience that kind of like friction of that uncomfortable situation.
I think a lot of this comes down to like awareness. Because like a lot of people will go into an uncomfortable situation and like shut down, go into fight or flight mode, or like panic or get really anxious. It's like you kind of then give the control over to that feeling rather than like reminding yourself that you're in control as well. And like that's, I think the one of the biggest things that I kind of do with everyone is like, let's be aware of how we're actually feeling. Let's be aware of, is our nervous system cooked? What needs to happen in order to regulate it on the regular, not just like one day. You know, it's not going to be regulated in one day. It's going to be a process. But like, let's also be aware of like, okay, I'm in this scenario. This is how I'm feeling. Okay, what am I actually feeling? And what am I feeling in my body? Is my heart racing? Am I feeling this? What am I feeling? What kind of symptoms, like, again, symptoms am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this? Like, what's the actual reason that I'm feeling this? Because once you also kind of attach it to a reason, because I feel like when you get in these scenarios, then you get really, really stressed. All you're thinking about is stress. Oh my God, this, it gets harder to breathe. Like, you start to speak a lot faster. You start to like go off on all these different tangents. Like, that's when you're then stopping and in line with kind of like, why am I asked to stress? Or you just stressing for the sake of stressing in a way, right? It's like once we actually then bring it back to what am I feeling, what's going on, what's the reason for this? And then I always like to question of like, well, what does this emotion need and what does my nervous system need right now as well? Does it need 5 minutes? Let's break, we're good. Does it need to sit down and actually understand what's going on? Does it need to speak to someone? Do I need to yeah, like do I need to distract myself or do I need to just kind of like go and take something off and like do something, whatever the scenario may be. But like I think with your just everything with you internally, you're always actually in control when even when you don't think you're in control. It's like the difference of like someone spilling their coffee in the morning or getting into really bad traffic and being really late for a meeting and being like, that's my day ruined. That's it. Like that's it. It's not even 9 a.m. and I'm having the worst day. And then you're probably going to move through and your entire system's probably going to be a bit more sluggish. You're going to be slumped over your chair and whatnot. And you're probably going to make terrible choices for food and stuff like that because you've decided that it was the worst day because this thing happened, right? It's also the same with like obviously more stressful kind of environments and stuff like that. Whereas if you gave yourself those 5 minutes just to check in, how am I feeling? What do I need? What does this emotion that I'm feeling right now need? What does my nervous system need? Can I give myself that? We're gonna have a good day. So I feel like it's always like I feel like that. I hope that answers your question. What for me, it's like awareness. the number one thing is awareness. And it's even like I do that even with myself on a day-to-day basis with like, because I have endometriosis, so I do a lot of awareness of managing that and awareness of like if I have a flare up, which I really rarely do anymore, but if I do, first thing I do, why? Okay, why might I be having this flare up? What am I feeling? What do I need? I move through it 10 times faster than I would have years ago.
Yeah, I think there's also like a level of like, because I think people generally have such a low awareness of this. And again, like the context doesn't really matter, whether it's similar to like yourself or like an endo flare up, or it's just like how you feel and show up on a day to day life. You
Hmm.
know, you using the example of you spilling the coffee on your you know your top or your shirt on the first thing in the morning. Oh, it's the worst day ever. Like, have you got baby wipes in your car? Or where could I get some from? We go into this like ugh, like hyper emotional state where
Hmm.
you can't think, like you are not solving the problem at the extremes. What going back to what I said earlier was about kind of like bringing that general day to day
Yeah.
operating window down a little bit,
Hmm.
so you're not getting
Like,
crazy high or crazy low. We're just
mm,
chugging along in the middle, and it's where your best decisions are made. It's where you're objective as fuck. You can be like, here's positive, negative, informed decision, move.
mm,
But it's also having that element there as well. Like I know, kind of going back to like understanding what works for you. I think
mm,
for me, so like I said, I love doing this. I love talking. I love having these sort of conversations. Like it is such a high value thing for me. One thing that I used to do all of the time, whether it was like talking on camera, whether it was, doing a podcast or being in these situations, 100 miles an hour, speed, speed over speed. What I found is I was almost like in this, like, I felt stressed because I'm trying to move so quickly. And I'd like stumble on my words. Don't get me wrong, I've done that a little bit tonight, but the way compared to where it used to be,
mm,
I look at trying to like, I don't have an issue getting up to like have these conversations. But I'm
mm,
also like, I almost need to like bring myself down so I don't end up having like a crash and burn and a meltdown halfway through. I'm like, right, Alice, we need to stop. I need a drink. I need an ice cream. I need a paracetamol, like just to like I'm all over the place. I can actually
mm.
like hold myself, do something that I love to do. But like what I did when I was driving home today, Spotify, chill mix,
Yeah.
slow, chilled music. Because what like your music is really good at like affecting your
Mm,
like I'm not going to listen to like Billie Eilish if I was trying to like really push myself in the gym, for example. I'm like in that situation, I want a bit of gangster rap. I want to be talking about like putting bullets in people, very far removed from my day to day life. But I want like proper like gangster stuff, where words,
mm.
drugs, sex, money, girls,
Yeah.
because that like upregulates me and gets me up for it.
Mm,
But I'm also like actually listening to like bit of bit of Mac Miller. I can't remember who came on first, but I was just like, oh, this is perfect. Olivia Dean,
yeah.
really like chill,
So good.
soulful, regulates me down. Music is a massive tool, and it's highly
Yeah.
personal. Like you're,
100%.
I like the slower stuff, but I also like,
Mm.
you know, my gangster rap about, you know, girls, drugs, and
All
money.
the things. It's funny that you say that because my one of my like PB songs is Sober by Pink. And it is not, it's a fairly mellow, sad song. Gets me going, gets me the PBs. Always, if in doubt, her Funhouse album, solid, sold. Random because usually I'm like a Bonfire Childish Gambino kind of person. I'm like really going for it, right?
Yeah,
Another PB song.
childish Gambino.
That Pink,
Oh my god.
yeah. When you were like talking there as well, it kind of got me thinking as well that I feel like a lot of people think like when you hear like nervous system regulation or all this, they think like I have to be doing yoga 10 times a day. I have to be cutting this stuff out. I have to be doing that. I have to be doing this. Like No, it's actually the simplest things that you have to just do in the daily. And it can be as simple, again, it's like awareness, but also like be intentional. It's like instead of having 4 cups of coffee a day, have one or two, right? If that's fine for you, right? It's as simple and like also get enough sleep. It's like I think people overcomplicate these kind of things and then they just move through their day, like you were saying, 10 times, the speed, like going faster and faster, faster, like stress, like I have to get things done, like this is this, like no wonder you're having like heart palpitation, no wonder your heart rate is like going all the time, and that like your Fitbit is probably logged you doing a workout when you've just been working because like you're so stressed, like you're moving as stress, you're not moving as yourself. And it's like if you can then bring awareness, like that's where it's like, yeah, just become aware of how you're moving through your day. Because I've done that before as well, where like I was like, I just like work the best when I have a coffee with me. And I was like so dehydrated, like terrible sleep, was like constantly burnt out, constantly felt like crap. And it's like sessions felt terrible, like wasn't moving enough, like was so sedentary, like wasn't moving. And it's like as soon as I flipped all that, unfortunately, it made a massive difference for me. Like moved more, drank less coffee, drank more water, like ate better, like understood what food to eat, like changed my working hours and changed it to fit more with me, and like check in with myself in the morning, do some breathing if I need to, like have like my strategies kind of in place for when I feel I really need to slow down, regulate. But it's like to actually regulate your nervous system, it's a daily thing, it's not like doing one massive thing.
Yeah, like I think it was like for me when I started to look at that sort of stuff, again, hyper resistance. But once I kind of was like, this is like just like calming me down when I need it, bringing me up when I need it, and like understanding like what feels good, which again, come back to that intuition. Like, I bet within about 50 swipes, I could have 5 different opinions on them, all contradictory, all very like hyper opinionated. I am going to go so far white or so far the other way or whatever to be like, this is it, because that's what works. That's what works inside social media. Really outlandish claims. I am not going to even give something else the sorry, not hyper, but not even give it like the time of day. I'm nailing my colours to the mast because grey doesn't work, but that's a social media strategy. Like, what's happening in your
Mm.
day to day life? You are not Instagram. You're not TikTok. You're not this algorithm.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it's like I feel like as well people like you see someone's like day in the life, but you actually don't see someone's day in the life.
I like part of me, like, I get that, like, people want to see behind the scenes, but I'm like, sharing properly behind the scenes.
I'm nosy. Like I am nosy. I want to see everything.
Yeah. Like, like, show me the weird shit that you do. Like, I was watching something
100%.
the other day and I'm like, they were like, I've got such and such injury. So this is my like 2 or 3 rehab moves I do in the morning. And I'm like, that's
Sure.
interesting. Like, cool. That's really cool. Like, whereas like I get up and then I make my oats and then I go and do this and I'm like, it's
Mm.
just like I get the premise, but it's not real life. Like, show me what really you get up to. Like, it's a whole peek behind the curtain. Like, you look at what's
Mm.
successful on Netflix, Amazon. It's like the behind the scenes sports documentaries. It's Clarkson's Farm. What's different about that? You go behind, like, you get in the detail with them. You're like, uh, if you ask me, like, would you retire? Would you run away to the countryside and like look after pigs? 5 years ago, I'd be like, absolutely not. Now I'm like, do you know what? It's an option. We are talking about it. Like, I would look.
Would not be me.
I'm like, oh, I imagine what'd be nice. I'd like to have a couple of cows. Be lush.
Hilarious. I mean, fair. That's so funny. I feel like the one thing that I'm like could go on is that what's it? It's a capture or something, or like where you have to hide from people or like fucking like the police or something like that. What's it called? I wish I could remember the
I
name of
know what
it.
you mean. I know what you mean. I think people.
Like and people, you're always like you're on the run essentially for like a week. Like I would do that. I'd be like, see you later, clients. I'm on the run for a week. Like, but I would do it.
Yeah, yeah, and just like do something really obscure. Like, I'm going to get out of the country, then go off grid. Like, find me now.
Yeah. I would like walk through the absolute forest to get to wherever the endpoint is. Like I'd be fully off grid.
Yeah.
100%.
Amazing. So, last kind of point on the sabotage sort of stuff. And again, something I pulled out something else that you said. It was you say yes to everyone else because feeling needed feels like purpose. It feels productive and powerful. It feels like you're doing everything right, but behind the scenes, you're stretched way too thin. You're reactive instead of intentional. You're slowly disconnecting, which is
Yeah.
point on people pleasing. Now,
100%.
like, there's wanting to be helpful and of service, and there's being like, well, actually, like, this is at my detriment.
Mm.
I'd love to hear your take.
Well, it's like wanting to be liked at the end of the day. It's like wanting to be seen a certain way, wanting to be like, not wanting to let someone down, not wanting to like disappoint someone, all because you put in a boundary or you said no. And it's like, I used to be that, I used to be a yes person, like at previous jobs as well. And it feels really great. You feel like a good person. You feel like you're helpful. You feel like you're really nice and people like you. But it backfires because then, in order for you to feel liked even more, you always have to be the yes person. But also, you then are not being like your authentic self for those people either, because you're not then allowing yourself to be your best self. So it kind of actually counteracts like the whole counteracts the reason that you said that in the first place. You become a yes person to feel good, but then two things happen. You don't become your authentic self and you don't become like that person for your friends. So you've probably said yes, and you're not actually able to be there as much for those people because you're stretched way too thin. And you've said yes to all these other people. But also it gets really uncomfortable then to say no. Like the amount of times that like people will then try to put a boundary in place or try to say no, and it feels so uncomfortable. And it's like, well, yeah, because you've put like this badge of honor on yourself for being the yes person, that of course now it's going to feel super fucking uncomfortable to actually be the no person, because like now comes the fear of I'm gonna lose people. People aren't gonna like me anymore. People are gonna judge me. People aren't gonna want to be around me because I'm not helpful for them anymore. Like, yeah, people pleasing is always like a desire to be liked, and it's like, well, you would still actually be liked if you said no, put your boundaries in place, and allowed yourself to be the version of you that you actually are for those people.
So, and like, I've seen people be like, oh, I need to stop saying yes to this. That situation plays out, oh, could you help with X, Y, or Z? And I've seen people bottle it. They start off being like, no, 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 like it's not a priority for me right now. I don't have capacity, blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, some amazing backstroke occurs. And then all of a sudden they end up doing it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially in a work context. Like, don't get me wrong, like saying yes to opportunities for me, a really good
Mm.
thing that I want to do in, you know, well, in my like day-to-day career. Like, I want to try new things. I want to get the experience. I want to put myself out there and be like, well, let's give it a try. So yeah, I am going to have to say yes. I have to do some people pleasing. In that, you end up probably doing some of the jobs that people don't want to do. Okay,
Mm.
cool, whatever. You know, I'm much more interested in like, okay, well, what's the potential on long-term opportunity? Even if I walk away
Mm.
saying, well, that was just a cool experience, like, or,
Yeah.
well, actually, that allows me to then potentially progress down that pathway.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
there's, again, there is an element of like kind of nuance of that. But the reason I am saying yes to that thing, usually to do a shitty job for someone else, which again, like, let's be real, that's how it could show up, is like, that is people pleasing, but there's some like strategy behind it. It's
Yeah.
it's selfishly it's selflessly selfish. Like, I'm
Well, yeah,
helping you
because you're
out. You're going to
saying,
help me out in the long run.
yeah, it's like you're saying yes, because well, you're saying yes, it's going to help the both of you, really.
Yeah,
But like, yeah, because I totally get that. Like, especially if you're like someone starting out as well, you're probably going to say yes to a lot more things because
my
you want to get your name places, you want to have these opportunities, you want to do that. That makes sense. But like, kind of going back to what you were saying about, when someone says, no, I don't have the capacity, and then they end up taking it on as well. I feel like that's then when people get so annoyed, they're like, oh, this person like just didn't understand that I said no, or like they like pushed me for or whatever like that. And it's like, you no, you've just not maintained your boundary. Like, if you're not maintaining your boundary, you're going to be annoyed. You are, but you can't actually really be annoyed at that person. You have to then be annoyed at yourself. And you probably already been annoyed at yourself because you've not maintained that boundary, because you then allowed yourself to people please
Yeah.
instead of
Oh,
doing what felt right for you. It's like when you say yes to like going to see a friend or something like that, and knowing that you're probably not going to want to go, gets to the day you go, you probably feel crap and you're like, I knew I didn't want to come here, I knew I didn't want to be here, or it's not the way that you want to socialize, or you didn't feel well or whatever. Like you've not disappointed them, but you've like disappointed yourself because you've not allowed yourself to move in line with like what's true to you, instead, because you've put someone else like first, essentially.
yeah. Like, and I think what was really interesting about what you said was, like it feels nice, it looks good. Again, there's that dopamine hit, there's that kind of like rush, like good opinion of other people. I want to help people. I want to, be of service because again, like you look at it almost in like a love languages gaze. Like I'm not doing that for, X person so they fancy me. I'm doing it because like there's a level of like affection, but like it's
Mm,
a very different context to be like, you might be like, well, I'm going to do this act of service because oi oi, or it's actually like, oh no, I want to help my friend or my colleague. Like again, there's like the
yeah.
context and nuance to it. But
Mm,
yeah, I think it's like you were saying, it's like starting to look at like the cost and almost like yeah, the annoyance will be with yourself. But like if you
mm,
made that rod for your own back,
yeah.
you can't really moan about it.
Kind of, yeah.
I can't sit here and moan about the goals that I'm not achieving from the work I'm not doing.
Yeah,
Or,
exactly.
the fact that I've got pasta for dinner probably isn't massively congruent with that claim that I want to do. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It's like, yeah, it's like it goes like all of it runs back to, yeah, like if you've got goals and like the actions that you're moving isn't in line with those goals, it's like to kind of make your bed, get into it. You know what I mean? It's like, but it's the same with the people pleasing. Like, so it's like you can't then be annoyed that you're not getting to those goals. Equally, you can't then be annoyed that people now assume you're the best person because you have said yes to them 1,000 times, like instead of saying no when you wanted to say no. So it's the same. Like that's how I used to feel. People are now expecting me to say yes. People expected that because I always said yes. So it's like I allowed myself to be the yes person. It was not actually anything on them. It was annoying, but I was not annoyed at them. I was annoyed at myself, like 100%. And it's like, okay, you've made your bed, get into it. Now let's unpack it and like actually redo it instead.
yeah, absolutely. And it's not nice, but bloody hell, that is. Do you know what? Sometimes you need to do that. You need to be like, oh, actually, do you know what? This is me. This is on me. Like I can't sit here and be annoyed at Janice, but like I'm like, this is on. There's a level of this that is on me, and
Mm,
I've got to eat it. I've got to take it. Unfortunately, suck it up, princess, a little bit. That typically is like not how I would view most things in life, but sometimes like you have got to be like, oh, actually, yeah, do you know what that is? I've just kind of got to suck it up and deal with that situation. But bloody hell, you're not going to rush into that situation again. Oh yeah, I'll do it. Throw that hand up for the thing that you don't have time and capacity, any like pull to want to do.
yeah, but it goes for like anything because I also used to be like I used to be the kind of person who passed blame a bit more or like kind of didn't want to hold responsibility. And like the older that I get and the more of this work that I do, the more that I realize everything that you do is like a choice that you've made as well. Like snapping at your partner, right? Yeah, they've annoyed you, but did you need to snap at them? Like it's like simple things like that where it's like, or like, yes, this person's annoying because they expect this thing of you, but like, have you led them to that expectation as well? Like, obviously that goes within reason of things, but like, I'm so big now on like, okay, I'm annoyed at this person or like, I'm annoyed at this situation. Let me flip the script. Like, what am I actually annoyed at myself for? Like, if I gave myself responsibility for something here, what would that actually be? Because I feel like I spent so many years like passing blame and being like, this thing is crap because of this person, or this thing is this way because of this scenario or this thing. And it's like, no, when I actually look back now, I'm like, okay, I can hold my hands up and say, like, what was I responsible for and what was I like not in control of? And I can be like, the things I wasn't in control of, completely fair for me to be like, those are, situations. Those are, I had to feel a certain way about those things. Things that I was in control of and I had like responsibility for it. That's my job to like understand and like move on from. Like that's my responsibility, but I'm not going to be a better person for just like passing that off to someone else.
Yeah, and what you said in there is like about you putting yourself in those shoes. Have you ever heard of Byron Katie?
So I wanna.
So there is, so she's very like, she's quite an old, like an elderly lady now.
Mm,
She has done a lot of work around like, so her work is called The Work, which imagine calling your
mm,
life's thing The Work.
love that.
Yes.
Kind of iconic.
But one of the things, so you can download her app, and like one of the tasks that you do is it like you put it through four windows. Situation one is like what happened. So Alice said X to me. Then you flip it and you be like, I said X to Alice. Okay, well, how does that situation play out? How does that feel? And then Alice said X to Alice. Play that out. Like, how would you feel if, you'd called me X and then you were talking about yourself like that?
Mm,
And then your final window is I did, I said X to me. And I'm like, well, okay, well, like, think about that thinking. Like, think, right, okay,
mm,
I've called or treated myself a certain way. How does that make me feel? And that's very good for like empathy and like understanding perspective. But like, and it's a tool like to do like bloody hell. I went through
mm,
some of those. I worked through ironically the work, and I'm like, oh, this is tough to swallow. This is hard because you then have to be like, you can be really quite pissed off, and then have to be like, you know, how would I feel if I said that to myself, or then trying to be like, what I think if someone I care about was saying that about themselves.
mm.
Like
Yeah.
it's hard, like hard stuff, and I've been in the trenches with it, but that's great as well. Like she has a book, I can't remember for the life of me, but yeah, absolutely. Her work is incredible. You think you see it, that's a little old lady, and you're like, but like when she starts like talk, you're like, oh my god, your
Yeah.
story, yeah, absolutely incredible.
Probably got like so much wisdom to share though. But like,
He's sick. He's an
should,
absolute legend. Love a bit of
mm.
Byron Katie. Like that was one of
But
the first things that I listened to in like my personal development journey.
I love how like that kind of with where that like slots in as well. I feel like if I said something to you, right, and you were sitting with it, and then you're going to put it on all these windows, and then you're going to realize that, hey, Alice has said this. Like for me, that's like Alice has said this to you because she's projecting something onto you, like onto me, essentially. Like I had someone like not that long ago be like, what would you say if someone like called you this, or if someone said that you were like this? I was like, wouldn't care. And they were like, really? They're like, why would you not care? And I was like, because I know they're not saying that actually about me. They're saying that about themselves. Like that's a projection. But like with what you're saying there, it's like, yeah, with everything, let's put these all into like their own slots, like put them all into their own like windows. Like if someone's like calling you names or calling you something, like remove it from yourself, remove it from your window and put it back into theirs. It's like not actually yours to sit with.
Yeah, and it's again, it's like we said about is like awareness of like, okay, well, you like that might have just been a very flippant comment, and be like, well,
Mm,
okay, well, when have I said made a flippant comment and it's upset someone, and I'm like, oh my god, like I'm really sorry, like I meant nothing by it. It was very knee jerk. I'm like and you're almost like, oh,
mm,
shit, like I didn't realize that had. I think that's something everyone can sit here and be like, well, actually, it's probably happened to me at some point. Of I've said or done something completely flippantly, not paid any thought or heed to it, and then someone's like, oh, that's like really upset me or really pissed me
mhm.
off, and then again, you have that opportunity to like have that conversation as well. Moving on to the last little bit now. Again, I'm working through this whole podcast thing, and trying to like find different ways of like, okay, well, how can I improve like the content that we talked about? So one thing that I sort of have done with today is kind of look through your feed, and I wanted to pick out content that I found insightful, because I definitely find what you talk about and what you go on about is so like insightful and aligned with me. But like B has also caught my eye, and I'm like, that's interesting. And this kind of leads me on to this title of ditching my soft bitch baby mentality made me a better girlfriend, friend, and coach.
Mm.
Now,
Yeah.
we all want to be the best possible partner that we can be, and we want to be there for our friends. And, like, you want to be doing well in your career. And if you've got this far into this podcast and you don't want that, what are you playing at?
Mhm.
But firstly, talk to me a little bit about what was this soft bitch baby mentality, and how was that showing up for you in your life?
So when I look back at me, like even just like literally a couple of years ago, like for me, yeah, the soft like bitch baby mentality for me was like always complaining. This is going wrong. This isn't working. Always looking at like what I don't like, and like always my partner would be like, "How was your day?" "Oh, I'm so stressed. Oh my God, this went wrong," or like this didn't happen, or like I would always focus on the negative. That's the first place that I would go to, the first thing. And but like, did you have a good day? Yeah, but I felt this. Like I felt, I had a headache, or I kind of felt this. Like always looking for like always looking for like love or like support or like validation, because it's almost like for me that came through complaining instead. But then it also looked like, okay, I've got these goals. What do you think? And he'd be like, I think go and do them. And then I'd be like, yeah, but what about this issue, or what about this thing, or like what about this? Like again, focusing on the negatives and almost like trying to get him to tell me to slow down, or get him to tell me to not do this, or not go for that. Like it was almost like just pretty much giving my power, like outsourcing that to putting that onto him. And like it kind of made me like, I was never like a bad partner, a bad friend, or anything like that. But like what I don't like was that it almost like gave me a reason to then be like, this person said that I should do that, so I didn't do that, and that's why I'm not here. Rather than like being like, no, I've not done it because I'm focusing on the negatives, and I'm focusing on what's not going right, and I'm basically getting them to tell me what I deep down don't want to do, instead of them being like, go and do it, like go and do the thing, essentially. Because I would like work, and I feel like everyone does this to a degree, like work with a conversation. They'd be like, yeah, go and do it, like, oh, but do you really think I should do it right now because I've got X, Y, and Z going on? Or like I would wake up, and again with like my endometriosis as well, this was like kind of when it was really, really kind of bad at the time. And I would wake up, and um my partner would be like, "Oh, how are you feeling?" "Oh, I'm not really sure. I think I'm not feeling too great," or I would just instantly be like, "I'm not feeling great." Even if I was like feeling fine, but I maybe was like feeling just a little bit tired, or feeling like a little bit of pain. What I'm big on now, and what like the transition is now is like I wake up if I feel a certain way, or I feel like a little bit of pain, as you might with endo, is like get up, do something, take action, and like see if it helps, essentially. And like my other changes now is like my partner will be like, "How was your day?" "I had a good day. This is what I achieved." Or if I have had a bad day, I'll be open about it, because like we're not here to like shame the bad days, or like shame those feelings. But like I'm not exactly gonna go in and be like, "I've had a bad day, love me, support me through it." It's like I've had a bad day, I carried myself through it, but I still also did this, and I know that tomorrow is gonna be a different day as well. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
yeah, totally. Like, I think there's two things that were showing up for me in what you said just there, and like sometimes, like when you want that attention or affection or whatever, like instead of acting in a kind of way that it's just a bit of a like, I'm sure, like, because I knew I used to do things like that, and like I look back at it and it feels a bit icky. I'd imagine it's probably similar sort of feeling for yourself. But the one thing that like I was thinking about there was like, well, actually, like if I want something from my partner, well, what did I go and ask for it? Like if I want some affection, or if I want to talk about a certain thing, if I want a little bit of like reassurance or a bit of touch, like I can ask for that.
Mm.
Again, like anything, you might not get it, but it's having that like actually instead of kind of like acting in a certain way, I can be like, babe, I just really want to cut it. Like, can I just have a cut? And like that gives you everything you need. And then you can go, okay, right, next thing.
Yeah, 100%. Like I will say to my partner about 100 times a day, do you love me? And he'll be like, yeah. And it's like a knee-jerk reaction, but like I'll just say because I'm like, it's nice to hear. And it's just like it's a nice thing to hear, but also like a little bit of like, yeah, I do. Like a little bit of love, but it's in a different way of like, I'm not asking because I'm like, I think you don't love me. It's because I'm like, I know you do. Tell
Tell
me.
me. Just tell me you love me. Uh,
Exactly.
Amazing. And when you went back to when going back to what you were talking about before, you said about how you were saying around how you would like go up and be like, oh, I had a like constantly in that like other person's opinion. Do you think
Hmm.
because at that point in your life it was because you weren't able to kind of trust your own intuition of being like, well, I'm thinking about this or thinking about making this decision instead of just being like, actually, I think this is a really good idea for me. Go do it.
Hmm.
Like it was having that like you didn't trust yourself, so you almost needed that external validation.
I think it was, yeah, a mixture of things. That I didn't trust myself. I had a massive fear of failure. So I was looking for any reason that someone else could give me that I was really giving them to tell me not to do it, to protect me from failing. Because I'd always be like, but what if this happens? What if that happens? So always trying to like protect my fear of failure, not believing that I was good enough or like worthy of having more. So again, like looking for like an easy out, a cop out that they could give me. And also like I guess like looking for like reasons, like looking for like validation and reassurance that like, but you'll still be here if it goes wrong or if something doesn't happen. Because I didn't yet at the root of it, didn't believe I was good enough for it, didn't trust that I would be able to like have that.
Yeah, totally interesting. Kind of go like last question. You obviously went through this period of kind of ditching that mentality, softer mentality. How did it make you a better partner, friend, and
Well, I mean, to some degree, still going like, I feel like it's always a work in progress, but like, I'm much more aware of, like, for example, even like the other night, like, I snapped at my partner. I got like moody with him, and he went to shop and he came back. And as soon as he came back, and this is something that I would not have usually done years ago, he came back and I was like, I'm really sorry. This is why I was upset. This is why I got moody. It wasn't actually you, it was me. And immediately squashed, totally fine, felt good. We both felt fine. And it's like that allows us to like have like more of a connection rather than like a tip or tat or passing blame. Like we're both like owning up to how we move in our days, the actions that we, maybe subconsciously do that don't fit with how we want to act and move. But that goes with like everything as well, like in my other relationships as well. Like, okay, I can own up to what I've done here that I shouldn't have done, but also like I now kind of going back to like the people pleasing, have more boundaries in place with like certain relationships as well. And it's like maintaining those boundaries allows me to be a better person for the other people like in my life as well.
amazing. Alice, that was absolutely incredible. I loved that. Like, I felt that we've covered a lot of ground and we've been going for, well, just shy of 2 hours just now. Yeah, absolutely incredible stuff. Just as obviously like a bit of a finishing up thing, this is very off the cuff because I've just thought of this. What has been
Okay.
recently your biggest insight?
Okay.
You know, when
Biggest
you sent me the
insight.
question so I can think about it. You didn't get that one.
Biggest insight. Okay. Ooh, I feel like we've touched on this, but I feel like my biggest insight is literally like, oh no, is that a good one? Let me think if I can think. Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna go with this one because I feel like this is like everything that I do and everything that I like believe, which I think we did touch on a little bit in the last episode as well, but you're a human behind everything that you do. Because I think that's where it gets messy in terms of like people forgetting that like you're actually just a human driving your goals. You're a human doing this, you're a human doing that, you're a human like doing all of the things. Can you also just allow yourself to like be a human, feel your feelings, feel your emotions, like feel how you're gonna feel, like look after yourself, like have a nervous system that you do need to regulate, like have a cycle and work with your cycle. Like you're a human behind everything that you do and like looking after the human that you are, because that's the vehicle for your goals. Like so if you look after the vehicle, you're gonna get yourself further.
I love it. And then lastly, what is next for you?
Ooh, okay. Couple of things upcoming. Obviously, I've just launched a new kind of 10-day challenge at the start of kind of October, but got an event coming up in November. Got yeah, a couple of things up my sleeve for coming into like next year, kind of changes to not massive changes, changes in how I can serve like more people. And just honestly building on what I'm creating, because the work that I'm doing now, the work that I've been doing the past few months has been genuinely so rewarding. And the changes I've made, the systems I've got in place, like everything has been so rewarding. And I'm just excited to like keep building, keep pushing, keep growing.
Thank you so much.
I'm interested quickly, what's next for you?
What's next for me? So firstly, series 2 of the pod, definitely in there. I just need to get it moving a little bit quicker than it is right now. And then I want to announce when series 2 is gonna drop. It won't be as long as the first one. It'll be like more of like a 6 episode job, but I want to share when that's gonna drop soon. I want to take this beyond just podcasting. I don't know exactly how that looks just yet, but I'm definitely keen to do that. And then almost also like it is more of like a day job thing. Like like I set myself out like, and it's really tricky. Like my big thing that I was like, what do I want to achieve is in like Q3. So July, August, September was like, I want to settle into my new job.
Hmm.
Like that's when you look at like goals, I'm just like, is it measurable? Like, how do I know that I've done it? But I'm like, I know that I've done it. Do you know what I mean? That was
Hmm.
really important to
Yeah,
me. So like for me, like that's like the next steps with that, the next level of like growth.
hmm.
Where does that where is that going and what does that look like?
I love that though, because you're gonna feel so like fulfilled as well.
Yeah, which is something that I've from like work haven't felt for a very long time.
Oh, you're gonna feel so good.
I'm buzzing. Right, thank you.